The next thing we want to understand is that waypoint marker that we talked about. Because as we're navigating, there may be times when we get to a point that we've navigated to, and we stop and we look around and we don't know where we want to go next. Or maybe we thought there was something here. Someone told us, hey, if you travel in that direction, you'll find a pond full of fish or something like that. But we don't know which direction we want to travel in next. That's where this comes in, okay? Because at this point, I would stop at something solid like a tree or something like that. And at this point, I'm on that travel bearing in that line azimuth, and I haven't broken it. So I haven't had to do anything with this travel log. If I hang this waypoint marker on that tree, I can walk anywhere I want to walk in this area as long as I don't lose sight of this waypoint marker. And I can go right back there and pick up where I left off if I decide to keep on going. Or if I decide to change direction, I'm going to do it from right there so that it matches up on this travel log later and I didn't get off of my azimuth at all to do it. This allows me to find my last known point of origin and stay on azimuth, okay? So, maybe I put, 183 in here and I walked 100 paces and I stick my waypoint marker on a tree and I fiddle around and figure out where I want to go. And that looks interesting. It looks like there might be a clearing over there. Start walking toward what I think is the clearing and I walk 80 paces and, okay, I found the clearing. So now maybe I put, clearing on here. Now I know that at that point there's a clearing. That'll come into play later, okay? That's the travel log. That's how meticulous you want to be with that. Every time you change direction and you're walking a different bearing and you shot a new azimuth, it goes on here. And you keep track of every bit of that until you're done for the day. Now, that covers waypoint markers. Now, avoiding obstacles. This is going to be a little bit tricky when you're by yourself. There are several ways that you can avoid an obstacle. Understanding that you may not want to bust through, 50 paces of brambles that are in front of you to stay on your azimuth, to keep track of your pace count. You may want to go around it. You may have something that is a large crevasse or something that you have to go around to get to the other side. So you need to avoid those obstacles. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to figure out how to avoid that obstacle. There's a couple ways we can do that. We can avoid that obstacle by doing what's called a 45, or we can avoid that obstacle by doing a box. So let's say that this is our line of travel, and this is our obstacle. Remember, we're tracking our pace count. So when we get back to this side and back on our travel azimuth, we have to know what this distance right here is. Okay? We have to understand, sorry, terrible question mark, what that distance is. We don't care about this. We don't care about this, but we do care about this because that's actual distance or paces. So what we're going to do is we're going to find a point on the other side that's in our direct line azimuth. Maybe that is a tree over here that's in the same line azimuth we're traveling. So we take a bead on that tree and we remember what it looks like. And then we start pacing at a 90-degree angle from our azimuth. A 90-degree angle from our azimuth. That's important. This is called 90-90-90 in some cases, or boxing an object. So we turn 90 degrees and we walk until we get past the object. The paces don't matter. Then we turn back exactly 90 degrees this direction and we start pacing till we get past the obstacle. Those paces have to be tracked. So maybe this is 20 paces to get past it, maybe it's more, whatever it is, it adds on to my pace count. When I turn back 90 degrees this way to get back to my azimuth, I want to double check myself. Maybe I use my notes column for this. And I say, well, this was 30 paces. So this should be 30 paces or close. Or maybe I didn't find the right tree. If it's 35 or 40, I probably didn't, right? These numbers should be equal or close, but they do not add to pace count. This adds to your pace count, okay? Then I just get back on my azimuth and I rock and roll. The other way that we can avoid an obstacle and keep track of what we're doing is by doing a 45. So let's say that this is our line of travel, and this is our obstacle right here, and this is our line of travel. And we find something on the other side of this, say it's a tree or something like that, that's in the same line azimuth that we have. And this time, all we're going to do is we're going to go take a 90-degree turn. Has to be 90 degrees, okay? And we're going to walk until this azimuth is 45 degrees different than this azimuth. If we create a 45-degree angle here, we have created a right angle. And this distance are exactly the same. Then we can just bebop our way back over here and not worry about counting anything. Because now we know what it is. We went 45, we went 90 degrees here, and we have a 45-degree azimuth, 45-degree difference in azimuth from here to here. So if this is 360 degrees was our azimuth straight ahead of us, just using an offhand number, then this azimuth here is going to be 45 degrees different than that. All right? So maybe this is 45 degrees. Okay? If I go over and shoot, and now I'm going this way, sorry, would go the other direction probably. So it would be 325? No. 315? Yes. 315 degrees. Okay? So when I get over here and I shoot my azimuth back to this tree, and I've got 315 degrees in my compass, now I made a 45-degree angle from this to this, right here, and now this distance is the same as this distance. A little more complicated, still simple math. Okay, the last thing we want to understand is how to estimate paces, estimate distance, because there may be a time that we can't just walk and box an object or walk 45. It may take more than that to get around it, and we need to estimate that distance in paces so when we get back to that point of origin, we're good to go. We've got it in our log. So let's use that same example of this is our danger area. Here's our tree sitting up here, and this is our line of travel, and we're standing right here, and we've got an azimuth to that tree. We can't cross this area. What we can do is, if we can't do a 90, if we can't do a 45, we can estimate the distance across that danger area. To do that, we use the rule of thumb. And we're going to convert this immediately into paces. So we're staying away from everything but paces as a measuring system. So what we're going to do is we're going to stick our thumb out and point it at that tree. And we're going to close one eye. We're giving it the Popeye wink, right? Then we're going to open that eye and close the other eye. And our thumb is going to move left or right off that object. And we need to count how many thumbs it moved. So let's say, for sake of discussion, that it moved 6 thumbs. I'm going to write that in my notes of my travel log because I need to remember it. Now I'm going to do whatever I got to do to get back to this tree. Confident that I found the right tree. What I could also do is I could leave something here so that I know I can shoot a back azimuth to that and make sure I've got the right tree if it's a long distance around, right? Maybe I even blaze the tree if I have to make sure I can see it from the other side. So I blaze this side of the tree so I can shoot an azimuth and make sure it's my direct reverse azimuth from there, just to verify. But once I get here, all I need to know is how big the tree is. And I'm going to measure it in paces. So I'm going to stand on one side of it, and I'm going to say, okay, that thing's about a half a pace. That tree's a half a pace around. I need to know that. It's a half a pace. It moves 6 thumbs. 6 times a half is 3. I times that, again, by that perfect number of 10. Going back to that whole 10 thing. And now, it was 30 paces. From here to here. And I can add that to my pace count, and I'm going to stay close to on track with that. So that's estimating a distance if we can't box it and we can't do a 45. All right, guys, I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters in the Pathfinder School. I appreciate your views. I appreciate your support. I thank you for everything you do for our school, for our family, for our business, for all of our sponsors, instructors, affiliates, and friends. And I'll be back with another video in this series as soon as I can. Thanks, guys.